Brum, brum. What's up, creators? It's your boy Mad Mike, and on today's episode we have another project inside the Mad Lab. It's a 1990 Kawasaki KLR650, so you're gonna want to stay tuned and check it out. Alrighty, so we have another project inside the Mad Lab, guys and girls. You've seen the 1993 KDX200 that we picked up not too long ago. We're waiting on some graphic kits to show up, and we've added foot pegs, handlebars, grips, you name it. So we'll do an update on that build over there. But we just picked up this 1990 Kawasaki KLR650. So I'm gonna give you guys a rundown on what I got it for, what my plans are for it, and its current state that it's in right now. Behind me, you can also see the El Camino with the 70 CUDA front end on it that we're calling the El CUDA. Yes, we're still working on that, but it's motorcycle season and I wanna get out there riding on that dual sport. So we're gonna try to get that thing running first while I'm working on the car at the same time. And just so all my subscribers know, we are firing up a second channel. So it's gonna be called Creative Moto. And on that channel, it's just gonna be specifically two-wheel stuff. Motorcycles, dirt bikes, cruisers, choppers, cafe racers, scramblers, tracker builds, you name it. So Creative Moto will be dedicated just for the two-wheel stuff. And on Mad Creative, we'll just continue to do the car build content. So make sure to leave a like and subscribe to Mad Creative if you guys like the car content, and make sure to go over and check out Creative Moto if you guys want to see all the two-wheel motorcycle builds that we do here in the Mad Lab. But with all that being said, where we left off with the El Camino is I cut the floors out and we're getting ready to do the sheet metal work. It was a long weekend last weekend and I just was too busy working on the motorcycles and dirt bikes. So we're gonna continue that train. And on today's episode, we're gonna be diving into this 1990 KLR650 that I got for $1,000. You heard me right, it's a pretty good deal. I mean, you can find good deals if you're scouring the internet, but it's getting harder and harder to find good deals on these older, especially these dual sport road legal bikes. I even have the ownership for it, which is awesome. But check out this bike, I'll give you guys an update on where we're at with it and what our plans are for this build. So there it is in all its glory. It's a 1990 KLR650 dual sport, so it's road legal and I do have the ownership, which is awesome. I picked this up for $1,000. I didn't hear the motor running. It was missing a ton of parts, but it looked complete. The guy that I bought it off of was yanking out the motor from this bike to put into one of his like custom sport bike builds that he was doing. He said that he heard the motor running, but he never had the motor running himself. He seemed like a motorcycle guy, so I took his word for it, took a good look over the motor and what came with it, and I decided to just bite the bullet and pay the $1,000 and pick it up. So we got pretty much a complete second bike. We got brake levers, you know, you name it, shift levers. We got rear fenders. We got tons of throttle and clutch cables. We have full gasket kit, which I'm gonna need, and I'll tell you guys why I'm gonna need this. We got fenders front and back. We got fairings for the front. And when I picked this bike up, the guy just kind of put the fenders and stuff on it with one bolt on each panel just to kind of make it look like a bike. So it made it look okay, but yeah, the thing was basically stripped down and everything was in bins. So once I got it home and I ripped off the gas tank, the seat, and all the plastics, I realized that there's absolutely no wiring harness to anything. It came with two spare harnesses that weren't for this specific year bike, but were for the KLR650, and they're pretty much interchangeable. A couple different colors here and there. So my first step was to run all the wiring and figure out what needed to be hooked up and try to get the motor to kick over. So I spent 3 days doing that and had a lot of headaches in between. Finally got it to kick over. I bypassed the clutch lever, the kickstand lever, and the neutral safety switch. I thought it was in neutral the whole time that I was trying to start it because I wasn't getting spark, but I have no chain on it, so I was pushing it around. I was like, oh, it's got to be in neutral. No, I cranked it over and this was spinning around and it was in gear. So what I had to do to get it into neutral to try to get spark was The other major issue with this bike was it had no shift lever. So this shift lever was MIA, as well as the shaft. It was sheared right off at the case, and there was no way for me to get the bike into neutral. I tried getting a little die grinder in there, doing a flat spot so I could get a flathead screwdriver to try to twist it, but it requires too much leverage to get it to pop into neutral. So what I ended up doing, and because I have that gasket rebuild kit, I ended up just pulling the whole side case off, draining all the fluids, and he supplied me with a new shifter shaft. So it was pretty straightforward. I thought you were gonna have to take out the clutches, but I didn't have to do that. I was able to pull off the side case and remove the shifter shaft, put that in, bam, I got neutral. Bought a new battery for it, new spark plugs, wired everything up, got it running. So now the fun begins where we get to start doing the cosmetic part of the build. We have plans not to keep this stock gas tank because it's ugly and it's huge and all the plastics are just, I really do like the vintage look, and I actually like this retro color, but it's just, it looks like a boring, sluggish bike. So I could go a couple different ways with this build. I could do a Supermoto style, which would be similar to this, but with modern kind of fenders off of a newer dirt bike or Supermoto. So I could do Supermoto, I could do tracker build, or I could do more of like a scrambler. So I think I'm gonna go for more of a scrambler type build on this bike, where I'm gonna delete this gas tank. I'm gonna pick up a cool gas tank that's a little bit slimmer. I'll make a custom seat and do a small little fender out the back, and we'll probably paint the whole frame setup, do custom matte paint job on the frame, custom matte paint job on the tank with some splatter and neon colors maybe. So that's the plan for this bike. We're probably gonna do like a little bit of a scrambler slash motard slash tracker slash supermoto style with this. I do have some inverted forks off of an old YZ dirt bike that I had, so that would be pretty trick too. But with all that talking out of the way, let's go outside and fire the bike up, and I'll show you what my big problem is now. The bike's running, the gauges work, the tachometer works, all the lights work, but I have a big problem. Let's go outside, fire up the bike, and I'll show you what that is. We got the bike outside, got a little makeshift way to get fuel into the carb. This is a CV carb, so it is vacuum operated. So without having the gas tank on, I have to basically make this into a manual carburetor setup, or manual petcock if you would. So the gas will come down here. It's not going to be vacuum operated anymore. And over here where my vacuum line goes to, I just plug that with a kind of one of those little nipples that plug up the hole, and hopefully I don't have an air leak there. That seems pretty tight, so that's what you want to do. So now that we got our temporary gas setup on, the ignition had no key, so I had to drill and stab it all out, and I'll just use a flathead for our ignition. And I got a new starter relay on order because this just clicks. Starter solenoid isn't working, so that's coming in the mail. So we should hopefully be able to work our starter button once that new solenoid comes in, but for now I'll just touch the two terminals, basically jumpering our starter, and that'll kick over the bike. The other thing is, the bike says it's got 20,000 kilometers on it, which is awesome. The guy said that should be accurate and original, so that's awesome. All the gauges are super clean. They don't look, you know, cracked or scratched up, as well as the frame isn't worn down a lot. The cases, everything's in a really good looking condition. The radiators aren't all bashed up. Everything looks like it's in good condition and complete, so this bike doesn't look like it was taken off-road and ridden hard. It does have an aftermarket exhaust on it. I do have a bunch of exhaust leaks right now. Everything's just kind of clamped on there loosely, and it's leaking from the header pipe as well. No big deal. I put coolant in it. It's got oil change with a new filter, and yeah. Either way, the bike is very clean. I'm really happy with it, but we have a big issue, so let's go ahead, fire up the bike, and I'll show you that now. Go ahead and grab our key. Yes, I know you guys want to see the rest of the El Cuda build. Don't worry, next week I'll try to post a video on that if I start working on the floors. So this is going to be our key, just a flathead, and this is going to be what we're going to use to jumper our relay. I don't want to use this, it's too long, and if I hit my frame, I'm just going to be sparking it, maybe blowing fuses. So we got that. Next thing we're going to need is, maybe I'll grab this. We'll fill this up with some fuel. Pour that into our makeshift little fuel gas can thing, and we'll be off to the races. So that'll be for our fuel. This will be to jumper our relay, and this flathead here, we should just be able to stick it in there, and you should be able to see our neutral light come on. There you have it. So we have ignition, so let's just turn that off, grab some fuel. Alright, so we just want to add a little bit of fuel. I don't want to overfill it, just want to get that float bowl and a little bit in the lines. Should probably be enough there. Let's add a little bit more. You can see there, the fuel is filling up the float bowl, and a little bit will remain in the lines, and as I'm revving, I'll be able to watch that go down, and I can top it off if I need to. Alright, now that we got fuel in it, I know I got spark. We'll put this into the on run position, make sure our kill switch isn't off, that's in the run position. It's in neutral, I know that because our light works as well. And this is spinning freely with no chain on it. Yeah, let's go ahead and jumper our relay there and see if this thing fires up. I don't have a choke on it right now too because the cable's all messed up. I did order a manual choke setup, that way I can eliminate the whole cable that comes up to the bars. I just don't like that whole concept. I like a good, just easy manual choke, so that's coming in the mail. But we have the old choke lever in here, so we're not gonna have a vacuum leak there. Basically, I'm gonna be taking this, touching it from the positive to the negative, and that's gonna kick over our starter. And because I have no choke, it's gonna be a little bit hard to get the bike running. It's pretty warm out today, so it should fire up. Let's just go ahead, try to kick this bike over, and I'll show you guys what our major issue is. Alright, so we got the bike fired up. It's idling right now. It starts up pretty decent. Because I don't have a choke, it's a little hard on cold start. But we'll let it warm up and then you'll start to see what my big issue is with the bike. It's pretty quiet with this aftermarket exhaust even on it. Once you get under the throttle, it actually livens up pretty good and has a pretty decent grumble to it. There is some exhaust leaks like I mentioned here and at the header pipe, but we'll fix those once we get new seals and new clamps. Sounding really healthy right now. Should have enough fuel in there to let it keep running. I'm gonna add a little bit more. Let's grab this and top it up. Alrighty, that's all topped up. Headlight works. Let's see if the high beam works. Yep. Horn. A little quiet. Alright, we'll give her some pepper and kind of see what it sounds like here. See if it'll pop and do anything. Just shuts off there. Let's fire it up again. Alright, we'll just jumper this. There we go. Alright, let's try to crack the throttle. Start to see what my next big problem is, guys. So I checked the oil. There's coolant and water getting into our crankcase, and that's white smoke coming off the back. Gets even worse when it warms up. Initially when I fired up the bike, I didn't see any white smoke and I thought everything was good. So I was getting ready to do the fun stuff, the cosmetics. But once I started seeing the white smoke, I knew I was gonna have to pull the motor and do the head gasket. So again, once it warms up, it gets even worse. There you have it. Now that it's getting warmed up, you can see all the white smoke. That's all steam. It smells like coolant. So that's our head gasket. So that's no bueno. Let's shut it off. All right, let's kill the power too. Don't want it draining my battery. So, like I said, I was getting all excited to do the cosmetic stuff for this build, but we got to pull the motor. And you know what? Because I have the whole gasket set, it's not a big deal. It should be a pretty easy job. I've never done a 4-stroke with the valves and all that stuff on the top side, the timing chain and whatnot. 2-stroke heads are pretty easy to replace the seal. This is a little bit more involved. So I'll probably do a video on that as well too. But while I have the motor out, I was thinking it'd be a perfect time to modify the frame and do our custom matte paint job on it with our neon colors and our splatter paint. So hey, it's kind of meant to be. It's not a big deal. Anytime you buy a dirt bike for $1,000 or, you know, for a bargain, you're gonna have to expect these kind of things just happening. The good thing about fixing the bike yourself is you learn a lot about the bike. That way, if you do take it off-road or take it on a big trip, you know exactly what could be wrong with the bike and how to fix it. Unfortunately for me, guys, I got my compression gauge and I have 2 different fittings and it doesn't match up with our threads or our diameter, so I actually can't thread this on to check for compression, so I can't do a leak down test. That kind of sucks, but guess what, guys? I know I got a head gasket leak. It's smoking like crazy, and with the spark plug out, if I crank it over, I'm getting a little bit of coolant splashing up against our frame. So the next big thing with this is yanking the motor out, doing the head gasket, and starting to customize and modify, fabricate this frame the way we want it to. I do have a new gas tank that I'm looking at buying. It's a kind of retro vintage Kawasaki tank. It's a little bit longer. I'll show you guys a picture here. Leave a comment and give me a thumbs up if you think that that tank would look cool. I'm gonna post another photo of a bike here at what I'm looking to kind of style the bike after. I really like the look of this bike. I think it's clean, it's simple, it's got Scrambler, tracker, Supermoto all tied into it. So that's the look I'm going for, but with the mad creative touch. Leave a comment below if you like that gas tank and I'll go ahead and order it, and then we'll modify the back frame here for our custom seat. So with all that being said, guys and girls, thanks for watching. Make sure to go over and check out Creative Moto for our strictly motorcycle build. From now on, I'll be posting all the 2-wheel stuff over on that page, and we'll do all the car content on Mad Creative. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time. Ciao, ciao. There you have it. Now that it's getting warmed up, you can see all the white smoke. That's all steam. It smells like coolant. So that's our head gasket. So that's no bueno. Let's shut it off. All right, let's kill the power.